Yeah. So right now, I have three that I'm doing right now. I've got a real estate and development company. I've got my coaching business, online education business. I'm creating some courses there. People have been asking me for courses on real estate development, on sales, and on these other things.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in the online education space because there's a lot of junk out there. So I have a podcast and a YouTube channel, and I've got my content is short, direct, and to the point. I don't sell, I don't pitch. It's just straight up. Here's the rubber meets the road. This is how you do it, and I give it all away. So I'm developing that, platform as well, and then I have some real estate investments that I'm doing. At any given time, I might have 8 or 10 properties doing different things. So on the real estate side, core services, if you're doing general residential real estate, I mean, right now we're in a bubble. I mean, the market's about as hot as it's going to get, and it's going to go nowhere but down from here. So watch the interest rates. If the interest rates stay low, we're going to stay robust. If interest rates start to tick up, as we saw last year, it's going to affect the market real quick like it did last year. But I think right now the Fed, everybody knows interest rates need to remain low. So get out there, get it, double down, triple down, quadruple down on everything you're doing that's working right now, because it is time to make hay. The sun is shining. Get it, store it up, and be ready for the downturn because it's coming. And, so on the residential real estate side, what's really, and I'll tell you another opportunity for your residential agents out there is investors. So there's a lot of wholesalers out there that are, assigning contracts, getting, motivated sellers under contract and then selling that contract to an investor. A lot of states are requiring licensing now to be in that space. So real estate agents, all a wholesaler does is market. They spend a lot of money marketing direct to motivated sellers. Every real estate agent should be marketing motivated sellers and capturing that market and being ready for that shift, because there's going to be a lot of wholesalers that aren't going to get their license. There's going to be a huge opportunity to take over that space. And that's also repeat transactions, working with investors, cash buyers, flippers that are looking for property. Real estate agents should have an arm that markets motivated sellers and goes after those motivated sellers like wholesalers do to feed that investment side. Man, that's just residual income right there. That's like an annuity. So I'm opportunistic. Yeah, I'm very careful. So what I'm not doing right now, and what I've always done, is I always want to come in a little bit below market. So if I'm flipping a house, I want to be able to buy that house, fix it up, and sell it for about 5 to 10% below what the market is averaging right now, what the max value is, so that I'm competitive. So if you chase the market down and you stay that way versus I'm going to buy this, do this, and I'm going to push the market, you don't want to be there right now. This is not the time to be pushing. And I'll tell you, on your statement in our conversation earlier about the stocks and all that, the most important thing to know, so everybody says you make your money when you buy low, sell high. That's great. But if you don't sell at the right time, you ain't making any money. It's more important to know the top than it is the bottom. It's more valuable to get out at the top than it is to buy in at the bottom.
Don't get greedy.
Don't get greedy. So, make your money, take it off the table, move on to the next deal. So I'd be cautiously optimistic. I'd be very careful. Whatever you're contemplating investing in, make sure that you've got plenty of room so that you can adjust. And so if the market does turn and we lose 25 to 50% values, which could happen, only if the interest rates really go out of whack, right? So we're not in a lending environment like we were before that's going to really, tank the banking system. But we are in an environment where stocks are way overinflated. The market is going to sell off. We're going to lose probably half the value that you're seeing right now. The question is, when do you pull out and sit on the sidelines? And I would say right now is a great time. And whoever has investment advisors, I'd be talking to them, listening to them. There's no harm in being in cash right now. I mean, we're not facing hyperinflation. Your dollar is not going to lose value significantly in the next year.
I agree.
So there's no harm in pulling back right now and kind of waiting. And when the market does deflate, then maybe it's time to get back in and ride that thing back up. But I wouldn't sit there and stay in for the long haul, because we are due for a big sell-off. I would watch our debt to GDP. The real problem that nobody understands what the implications are is when we reach a point to where our interest on our debt outpaces the GDP, meaning we're paying more in interest than the country is producing in income. What is the real result of that? What is the real impact of that? Nobody seems to know that answer, including the Fed. So that's a big thing to watch, because when that happens, that's when you're going to see, debt, the national debt to GDP.
GDP.
So
Okay.
Right. So, we are borrowing money from other countries to operate.
Yeah.
And we are the safe haven. Our currency is the gold standard for the world. We are still the safe haven. But at some point, if we get to the point to where we're borrowing so that we can pay our debt, and we're not producing enough income through tax revenue, right, to pay the debt, we got a problem. So how do you sustain that? And printing money, that's when we can have a problem. Now, I don't have a big enough brain to figure out what the consequences of that are, but that's what the smart money and the smart people are looking at, is that balance right there. When our debt becomes unsustainable and we have to start printing money to service the debt, that's when we're going to be in a lot of trouble.